I was just reading tonight. The reason why I wanted to get the book again, because I wanted to read you a little something, because that's very interesting. You came up with that, because it talks about the subconscious mind is a powerhouse. It creates around all of us that it believes to be true, according to instructions that you give it. So if you give the subconscious mind what you want for healing or anything, it's going to work. Everything around you and you here and now has been created for you by your subconscious mind and has been attracted to you like a magnet. It is impossible to stop this creation process. Even when you leave the earth, life, it will carry on creating for you and serving you for its purpose to attract to you all that you need. It does not reason. It just accepts the instructions that are believed to be in your best interest. Before it will change its created pattern, it has to be connected with new instructions that are valid. This is where all conscious mind comes into picture. So your subconscious mind creates everything that you need. The only thing about it here is you have been given wrong information based on society, your preacher, your teacher, your parents. You see what I'm saying? And as a result, your subconscious mind has to realize when you want some greater things to happen, you got to validate it and make it valid so your subconscious mind can understand that. One best way to do is to somehow go on the internet and get this book called The Magician by Philip Cooper. You know, that's one, you know, but yes, that's exactly what you do. I tell the story about I was coming down with a cold. That's why you got to wash your hands anytime you go out. Even now the supermarket now is giving you that stuff you put on your hands and stuff. Because on the supermarket baskets and stuff, people are all sick and coughing and stuff like that. So
the hand sanitizer?
That hand sanitizer. Supermarkets now giving you that up front to sanitize your hands before you put them on those baskets. But I was out one day and must have touched something and woke up the next day and was coming down with something. And so I went and didn't have no echinacea, didn't have no vitamin C, didn't have nothing in the cabinet. I said, damn, and I had a peach soda in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Artificial flavors, nothing natural about it. Water, sugar, and chemicals.
Oh,
and I said to myself, I'm going to drink this peach soda, and it's going to give me all the nourishment I need to knock this thing out. Didn't come down with nothing. And it was better than taking 7 or 8 golden seals and echinaceas. That's because, you see, based on what I did, I took the same thing. And you know that's what the doctors do now. They give people placebos, and they go, yeah, I'm better now with that medicine you gave me. And it wasn't nothing but a water pill. You see what I'm saying? You see. So yes. So yes, you can do all that with your subconscious mind.
Oh, wow.
There are people that's awake, and there's people asleep. Now, most people on this planet are asleep. So let's break it to the least common denominator. Let's say the black community.
True.
It used to, they say 5%. No, it's like old point something now.
That's right.
You see, that's asleep. So you're going to be lonely because the simple fact that people are asleep. Now, how is this? You have a chakra system in your body, and these are 9 wheels of consciousness. 7 wheels of consciousness. There's like 160 chakras, but 7 major chakras, just like there's 7 African powers. Now, what has happened here to give you a scientific element of what's going on so that you can clear this up so you don't have to go and be trying to holler at somebody and they laugh at you and they don't want to hear that shit. Because your family will beat you down and niggas in the street will beat you down. You're going to try to give them a message. Now, have you around here crazy. Now, the chakra system, the lowest chakra is your sacral vertebrae. That's your root chakra. And that's where the majority of the people's consciousness is, on the root chakra. So the only thing that they can get down with is desires. What feels good, what tastes good, what smells good, what looks good, what sounds good.
Yeah.
You see,
the
basic senses. You see, on that particular level, they are called the automatons, which means automation.
Okay.
They moving, but they're brain dead. You see what I'm saying? Now, you don't even get into this particular consciousness that you can partake to understand what things is until you're radiating from the heart chakra. You see, the heart chakra. That's why the Egyptian, the heart scarab was the most important. Even when you died, they throw the brain away. But it was the heart that they preserved. Because that's where your true self is. But you got to radiate from the heart chakra and then you elevate on into the pineal gland. But most people's consciousness is in the root chakra. On the five senses, the animal level. And they can look pretty. They can have a PhD with a degree. They tell you it's only a degree of information. You see what I'm saying? You know, a degree of information, it has nothing to do with a person's behavior, whether they're conscious or not.
Nothing can be accomplished in the waking world. The waking world is for this reality of illusion. When a person goes into deep sleep, he goes to his higher self. So you only go to your higher self in deep sleep. In deep sleep. That's the only time you live, is in deep sleep. The waking world is the dream world, and that's what you call the dream world is the real world. So nothing you do on this shit, everything that you do in this world is futile. It's senseless, and it is not even reality, and it never existed. You see what I'm saying? It never existed. So just 99.9 of every conscious movement and even the metaphysical is bordering on the fucking waking world. And what we're talking about here is something totally, that's why I gave you the concept of death. I did all in 1999, I dealt with death. 2000, I'm dealing with sleep. So we're dealing with something outside of the normal function. You got to understand who gives you what and what lectures you go to. This is what I deal with. You see what I'm saying? I deal with the stuff that don't supposed to make no sense because you ain't used to it. So if it's logical, rational, it ain't the damn place to be. It is that other thing. And whenever things become logical and rational, it ceases to be knowledge. It's only regurgitation. I'm giving you some shit you agree to. That's not knowledge. It was knowledge prior to you knowing it. But that's not knowledge. That's why I don't even agree with myself 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago. You see what I'm saying? Because you constantly supposed to be growing. So therefore, they don't bother him at theology. You see what I'm saying? Keep going. And that's the problem with most of the people. They get a certain theology. And they don't want to go beyond that theology because that's what made them famous. I ain't trying to be famous. We're trying to get the fuck up out of here. And when we wake up, if we still ain't out of here, we got work to do. So it's not about the theology. It's never good enough if it didn't produce the result of ending this motherfucking shit.
Immortality is not really done in the physical body. Actually, death is graduation. Now they are masters on the earth that would have to stay around for 300 years or something like that, and that was only because they had students and they couldn't find a master or an adept on the level to leave the school behind. So that person, until they found someone on the level of spirituality that could be the next teacher, until that particular teacher had to stay around. They have had cases of people staying around for 300 years, just regenerating the cells, you see, for 300 years, just so that they could, because there was no one around to teach the school. You could also get this story, because I like to give bibliography. you get the book, the autobiography of a yogi. And I think it was a guy in the autobiography of a yogi by Yogananda. And there was a guy that lived in India in the 1800s, and he was 300 years old, and he was 300 pounds. He was 100 pounds for each year. And so he'd walk around naked, and the police would lock him up. And as soon as they lock him up, someone would run into the jailhouse and go, "Hey, there's a naked man meditating on top of the jail," because he was so powerful he could just basically dematerialize his cells and just go to and just basically materialize where he wanted to materialize. This is a true story. You see what I'm saying? So they would say, "Well, this naked man is meditating on the jail," and they would go him and get him down, and he would do it again. Then they would let him out. And basically, he would go and teach the students, and then after he would teach them for so many, maybe about a month or so, he would go under the ocean and sleep under the ocean. He would sleep under the ocean maybe 3-4 months, and he would come back up under the ocean. And when he came out of the ocean, they has to give him big buckets of milk, and the only reason why he was around is because they couldn't find an adept. You see what I'm saying? A spiritual teacher to take over the school. So that's, that might seem like immortality, but that's really kind of, it's a burden, because the Egyptians used to say foolish are the long-lived. You see what I'm saying? They say it is the Eleusinian fields that we seek, which was talking about the other dimension and the other world, which was the real world. Who wants to stay around in the illusionary world?
This is Crawley book, only book, Alistair Crawley Atlantis, but this is the only book that you can't get. Because Alistair Crawley explained in here what Atlantis was. The African root atlas is an offshoot of the range, was the true atlas supported by the ancient world, by the moral and magical strength, and hence the name fabled globe bearer. The root is Lemurian Tala, or Talos, which means black, and which will appear in due course. The A is the feminine pretense that derived from the shape of the mouse. Well, there's your vesica also. And uttering the sound, the black woman is therefore the true translation to the word Atlantis. This is why this is the only one that ain't in print. It's about like that Rudolf Steiner book. The one where they got the Yaku story, which he set up the island of Dr. Moreau with H.G. Wells. His book, The Atlantis and Lemuria, Rudolf Steiner, is the only one you can't get. You can get it from Health Research, but you can't get it. But all the rest of his books is on the shelf. But this is the only Alistair Crawley book, one of the few ones that you can't get, because he tell you at the beginning of the shit the word Atlantis means black woman. And if you really want to break that down, Atlantis is twitch your legs.
The physical body, which is nothing but a package of shit carrier that you so in love with. You see, therefore, life as Jonas points it, which is Hans Jonas, the guy who wrote the book, is a numbness or sleep and a drunkenness of oblivion. You see, of oblivion. Our ignorance is a form of unconsciousness and infection of the darkness from which we are awakened or called. Knowledge saves us. Knowledge protects the spirit against the sexual love and sensational pleasures of seduction of this world, as Jonas writes. What he means by that is, he's just talking about basically the comfort zone and the pleasures that you are so longing to get, longing for something else that you don't know about, until you get the knowledge and find out that the shit that you wanted, all this stuff, ain't shit, but something created by the damn white man to keep you down here fighting over some bullshit and asking for reparations, money, welfare, affirmative action, and the right to be recognized by the other beasts around the damn planet who know who the fuck you are, just as you don't know who the hell you are. Got it? You see, ignorance of drunkenness is the soul is ignorant of itself and its origins and its situation in an alien world. That's you. You see what I'm saying? In an alien world, it is precisely the awareness of the alienness in which the intoxication is meant to suppress man down into a whirlpool and made oblivious into his true being, of his true being is to be made a children of this world, is to be a person that is held in oblivion and don't know the knowledge of who the hell he's supposed to be. That's the real alien that they're talking about, and that's you. You see what I'm saying? That's why the campaign now is to fight against the alien. So now Will Smith has now got out the movie Men in Black, where they are detectives fighting against aliens, and they talking about cleaning up the scum of the universe. Ain't that a bitch? Scum down here can't get along with animals and talk about other people from other planets or either other dimensions. It's damn scum. That's the cracker. Even cursing something that he don't even have experience with. You see? But that's the role of the actual beast.
You got to rebel against human thought. You see what I'm saying? And humanity has to become the enemy. So you understand what I do. I'm not in the aspect of improving your life. Now, I'm not saying that that's not a part of the thing, because as long as you're here, we need some damn relief. I understand the particular part of human survival and people that come to help you improve your life. But I represent another aspect of you that's the aspect of where we ultimately ending up. And that is beyond the realm of humanity, the metamorphosis. So my thing is not, so if I sound like I'm crazy, it's because I'm not coming, you got to understand the different speakers. My spirit realm has led me, I'm not coming to improve your life. Because y'all all live better than me. You know what I'm saying? I live on the minimal level. You know what I'm saying? So I'm back down to 1 hour on my stove and take me 4 hours to cook a goddamn meal. You see, so the point I'm trying to make here is we're trying to jump beyond the concepts of what is rational, what is logical. You go to conference and conference, and we all know what we don't do. You know what I'm saying? How the dollar bill turns over 37 times in the Jewish community and don't turn over none in ours. You know what I'm saying? So we understand that we fucked up. So what we're talking about here is the overhauling of the whole thing. So I come to you to give you something that's totally outside of your logical function. You see what I'm saying? So now permeating into this particular aspect, what gets these midichlorians or the melanin going, I'm talking about the inner melanin. You see what I'm saying? Is abnormal behavior. You understand what I'm saying? It's abnormal behavior. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes the grotesque. You know what I'm saying? Or any kind of thing like that, you see. It's not physical act, mentally. You see what I'm saying? Mentally. You know, stuff like that. Now, so these are types of things in order to jump into another alternative reality, not necessarily bordering on the familiarity. Now, so they know that they got to come in, and they got a bunch of people to take this flu shot. Meanwhile, what this thing does is it retards the melanin. But it doesn't matter about the masses because they're not the ones, you see what I'm saying, that's on deck. Apparently this guy had done research and had found out a certain amount of information, and it makes a whole lot of sense, so I'm going to give you the information on what went down. When you had your last invasion of Egypt, or Hemmitt, where you had your Arab invasion, you had large clusters of Egyptians that left by the thousands, and they migrated over to West Africa, maybe by the millions. You know, and the other ones got pushed on down in Nubia. You see what I'm saying? Pushed on down in Nubia. Now, you know they buried 200 temples up under the Aswan Dam because they found Hebrew writings up in them shits. They found just about all Hebrew, Greek, and all that stuff that the Egyptians was doing, and they showed that the origins of all that stuff came from one single library. You see what I'm saying? Plus all your Typhonian stuff, which is your pre-dynastic stuff, which really gets into some stuff, and the stuff I'm going to deal with the next 2 days. They didn't want the people to understand that stuff, so basically they covered over those particular temples. 200 temples. Even Dr. Ben talked about it in 91. 200 temples. Now, you know the white man don't cover up shit. He want to know everything. But basically, they took them, basically what they did is they worked for maybe 100 years between the time of Napoleon. They just went and just copied everything off of the temple walls. They don't have to decipher it, just make sure you get everything. And they copied all of them. Once they got it all copied, you see, then they asked one down, they cover it over. So anyway, some of them got pushed back into Nubia. The other ones had a large migration over into West Africa. Now, the scene shifts to the time of the slave trade. Now, two aspects. Number one, the slavers is coming up in there, the Arabs as well as the white boys or whatever, Portuguese or whatever. Now, two things happening. Remember, these particular people, Africans, because they don't know but one color. So what distinguishes you is your particular civilization or your tribe or whatever, or your nation. You see what I'm saying? So now if the slavers are coming in, the king has to make a choice. He is bound by law to look out for the people that he is ruling over, or his kingdom. You see what I'm saying? So if you're going to choose who's going to go get on the slave boats, you best believe I'm going to try to hook up my homeboys to stay. So therefore, the Egyptians or the Camites being homeless, because they didn't have a home because their home was in Egypt. So they had thousands of these homeless people settling in the area, which they had several migrations. They came during the time of the Dogon, you know, and the whole thing with Timbuktu and all that type of stuff. So basically what they did is the Africans, the West Africans gave up the Egyptians. And so your major influx of people that came to the West are the Egyptians. So that's why when you look at them fucking hieroglyphics, something happens to your ass. You remembering your own self when you were living in Kemet. The other thing is based on his stuff is because the Camites was a very advanced people and sophisticated people. They had some other brothers and sisters over on the other part of the planet or continent that got jealous of them. And that also added into putting them on the slave ships. Either way, this brother's scholarship must have was accurate. It must have was the same scholarship that the Europeans came up with and came to the conclusion, because if it was false, they wouldn't have came and confiscated all the books. You see what I'm saying? So obviously the brother was on point. You see what I'm saying? Which also breaks this thing down to who we are. Star Wars trilogy is the Osirian drama. It's all hooked up. The Christ is Luke Skywalker. But Darth Vader, who is his father, is actually God of the perfect black, Osiris. Darth in the Kabbalah. And I done lost my Kabbalah. I gotta put it back here. In the Kabbalah. This up here, they don't have it on here, but I got another one in here. See if I can find it. Because I got to get the other one, because I got to talk about some stuff tonight. Some other stuff that you got to do. You got to go. There's something that you can do. See, I done hit upon some of the gates. How you can get out of this mess. Right. And so there's some things you got to do. So we're going to get with that tonight, too. I done figured this shit out. As soon as I figured it out, you see, the Adala prophet I told you about, he's that jealous God that don't want people to rise. His name is Zeus.
in Greece. So Jesus is a dollar drop, the jealous God. And the Bible says, I am a jealous God. So, this section, right here, this star, right in the middle of the thing supposed to be Darth, D-A-A-T-H, that's Darth Vader. That's the black dot. He gives birth to Luke Skywalker. Their teacher is Yoda. Yoda trained Jedi warriors for 700 years. This is where it comes from. This is Luke Skywalker and Yoda. This is the original Christ Horus, which is called Harpocrates, or Heru-Parcrates, which means the baby Horus. Later on, the baby Jesus. Baby Jesus. The baby Horus Locke. Up top is Bess, which is actually his higher self on the inside teaching him. So Luke Skywalker went to Yoda, our Yogi Master, Yoda Master, the Jedi Master, to teach him. As you can see Horus, or Heru, has this thing on its back, basically, or behind his head. If you notice in the movie, he was taking Yoda around on his back. That's right. This is the god Bess. You call him Satan now. Satan, get behind me. That's your teacher. This represents melanin. That's what Yoda represented. It was his higher self. The Kundalini, which is inside of you, the Kundalini, which is inside of you, is the staff of Tahuti. You call it the Medical Association. The Medical Association, which is the staff of Tahuti. You got that? You know that's the what's called. This, the staff of Tahuti, is the same as the staff of Moses. Remember, Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness? That's the damn serpent. Moses, before he was a historical figure, he was called the god Tahuti. Moses and Tahuti is one and the damn same. The god of wisdom and knowledge. You see, the staff of Tahuti is this, which is the same staff of Moses. See, Richard, the guy, Joseph Campbell said that the Hebrew religion ought not have been invented. What did he mean by that? He didn't say the Hebrew mythology. The Hebrew mythology was an ancient mystical mythology system of tales that came from Ethiopia. Later on, it was historicalized, so Abraham, Isaac, Moses, Jacob, and all of them became historical figures. They never existed in history. Solomon never existed in history. You think of Solomon as a historical person. That's how they keep you on a low level. Solomon is Amen-Ra. Sol, which means sun, or soul. You get solar. Soul or Sol, which means sun. Amen, which means hidden. Solomon, which means the hidden sun. Or sun means what? Ra. Amen-Ra. Ra, Amen, Ra, sun. You see? Amen-Ra, Solomon. Sol means sun. Amen means hidden. Amen-Ra, Solomon. Same damn shit. It's also a form of Osiris. Now the staff of Osiris, or the staff of Tahuti, is called the backbone of Osiris. Osiris, or Osea, or Asur, or Usur, the backbone is your Kundalini energy that shoots up. The backbone of Osiris in Egypt is called the Djed pillar. In Star Wars, it's called the Jedi warrior. The Jedi warrior. You see? The Djed pillar. But the Jedi is talking about the jet black eye of Heru. And you know the eye of Heru is what? Melanin. Read about that in African Origins of Biological Psychiatry, Richard King. A must-have. We didn't have a religion. Religions came later because a new group of people was coming from the motherfucking caves and couldn't understand the advanced planes. So they would have to need a religion. And basically, because Rome was taken over by some barbarians, because the original Romans and the original Greeks was black. The Etruscans, Etruria, later on called Troy. You ever hear this shit where they when they Helen of Troy and they killed off the Trojans. That's the history where they killed off the ancient black man of that area. Anytime you hear the war, the Trojan War, that was the white Greeks that came in, learned the language, because the Greek language is black, learned the mythology, which we're going to go into tonight, which was black. You see, and the Romans came in, learned Latin, which was black, learned the mythology, which was black, and then killed off the ones called the Etrurians or Etruscans, or later on Troy. So the Trojan War was the Greeks telling you, the first two books in Greece is the Iliad and the Odyssey, and they start off with killing off the motherfucking Trojans, which was the black people of that land. So anytime you hear the word Trojan, that's us. Comes from the word Etruria, Troy, Etruria, Tyrrhenia is the name of these particular people, Etruscans. Okay, now going back into this particular science, they got all this particular material at that particular time. The Romans, they knew the new religion because the ancient black Ethiopians who had migrated up into the area of Canaan, Israel, which is an extension of Egypt. You see, this is the funny shit. Now look at this. They tell you, the Hebrews tell you that one of the tribes of Israel is Egypt. Ain't that right? Am I bullshitting? Correct me if I'm wrong. How many motherfucking people study Hebrew shit? Is one of the tribes in Israel Egypt, right? So how the hell can Egypt be the enemy of damn Israel when Egypt is Israel? Same people. You see what I'm saying? In Arabia, one, too? So how the hell the damn Muslims going to be goddamn opposite? Not unless that's a white motherfucker done come up in and took over the ancient people shit, and he can't get along with nobody. And perpetuating a fraud, and perpetuating a lie. Okay, going into this, the first thing the preacher will tell you, when you get into thinking you can't think, anytime they want to explain Christ or the New Testament, because they can't find it in the Old Testament, anytime they want to explain the New Testament, the first thing they tell you is we got to go to the damn Greek shit. Or the Latin shit. Oh, shit. Do you hear what I just said here? First of all, they just told you that pagans, those are pagans, the Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians, the Babylonians, the Mesopotamians, the Africans, the Chinese man, the Indian, all those are pagans. You just know, that's a pagan thing. You don't even know what the word pagan means. Mean one without a religion. That means it's the most advanced shit. Take more than one damn book to teach your ass some shit. You can't go to no goddamn college and learn no shit from no one book. Right. Why the hell you carry one book around your whole life? You gotta be a fucking idiot now. You can you a dumbass motherfucker can get through a damn novel in 2 nights. 2 nights. Put some fucking up in there and you'll get through that bitch in 1 night. That's right. 1 day. You put some damn hot steaming fucking up in a novel, your ass be days off at work. That's right. You can't do the terminology. You go to the dictionary and learn the goddamn terminology just to see who fuck who. Might be it might mean fuck somebody, so I need to find out what this word is. Fornicate or sodomize. Right? And it book be this damn thick. You know what I'm saying? Judy Collins, Hollywood Wives, and Las Vegas Hoes and shit. You get through the book in 1 week. You get through the book in 1 week. You let an asshole teach you a book, the Bible, all your fucking life. Because you can't read shit. Because you don't want to read nothing. All you want to do is go there and holler with them. And know the words, know the verses. Can quote the damn verses. Be out there with a Coke 45 bottle. Quoting the verses. The Bible said this. Right? Okay. Listen to this. The top Christians, when they want to debate you about Jesus, they can't go to the Old Testament because the Jews say, fuck that motherfucker fake. Wait a minute here. Okay. Now hold on now. We just need to think. The white Jews who's following us, but even if you go to damn Israel and find a motherfucking damn black Jew, because they got about 50% down there, blue black niggas down there in Israel now. Was there before the crackers got there, the fake crackers. In 1947. That's their goddamn origin to Israel. 1947. No, 48.
50 years ago, the motherfuckers supplanted themselves over there and authenticated themselves as Jews. Who was inducted into the faith when the Moors gave them the damn religion. All the cults of 13 tribes. Give you the whole story. The Moors is the one that taught them this shit. Them niggas come from the caves and hills of Europe. Eating motherfucking people, eating shit. You see what I'm saying? Juniper root, like what's the name say? Just eating dogs, fucking the dog. The woman, when the boy turned 18, he would inherit his mother as a fuck partner. That's the white man. That's the one you adore. Oh, wait, that boy, they talking some strange, no, go get goddamn Sheikh Anta Diop, cultural unity. Learn about polyandry. We can document this shit. Go get the great cosmic mother put out by 2 white women. You see what I'm saying? We ain't talking about other damn books like Iceman Inheritance, and these are the mild shit. You see what I'm saying? But my point is, listen, the Jews say that motherfucker, no, that person didn't exist. Well, wait a minute now. That's like you a black man, and the Christ was black. His name was Jesus. You going, no, we know about the Christ. The Christ is to come in the last days, but we don't know no motherfucker named Jesus, because that's a Greek word. That's a Chinese word. We don't know no motherfucker on damn Ashby Street. Come on. West End, when no Chinese motherfucker liberated us. Come on. Like they're telling you Malcolm was a damn Chinese. Come on now. Go ahead. He's a Chinese. He say he's the savior of your race. He's a Chinese motherfucker. A Greek word now. You ain't figure the shit out. So now, going back to this, the preachers say, well, we want to deal with the New Testament. We got to go to the Latin and the Greek Bible. Wait a fucking minute here. Right. Them supposed to be pagans. Right. Wait a minute, hold on now. If he's a Hebrew, why can't you go to a Hebrew Bible that talk about him? Because his name ain't Jesus in the Hebrew Bible. Come on. His name is Metatron. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. You see what I'm saying? You see, Michael, Melchizedek. See what I'm saying? Adani. His name ain't that in the Hebrew Bible. Jesus, Greek and Rome. You understand where I'm coming from here? You see? Because the Romans is the ones that got all the material, got Paul, and got another Paul, John, Josephus, and they sat down and they had all these papyrus. Look, you think we think because we modern, we smarter than people in the ancient times. The average priest back then had the mind of a nuclear physicist, and a nuclear physicist would be like the first grade to the average priest back then. Because they learned for 40 years, and they learned every goddamn thing. Right? And you think you smart. Plus, they was black people, and they were spiritually open. You see what I'm saying? So, now I ain't talking about the Romans was white, but Paul and the motherfucker was some niggas they got to do the shit. Sold us out. See what I'm saying? And they were spiritually open so they could channel. You thinking they dumb and all. So they got all this material, and they set them down around a table, and they just plagiarized all that shit. Egyptian, Greek, which is ancient black Greek, ancient black Latin. You see what I'm saying? Ancient Hebrew from the Kabbalah. They plagiarized all that shit and wrote the book. Now, the scriptures is fundamentally ours. I ain't telling you rebel against the Bible. I'm telling you read that shit more than Creflo Dollar and them teaching you. And the Freedmen's Bureau, which is the white slave masters who taught you how to read the Bible. So now, making a long story short, they put together this book. But if you plagiarize some shit from another people, and if you take the ancient name Metatron, Michael, Seth, Heru, Jehu, Oseh, Mach-D, Ma'at, and put all that in the book, you will still have the same black energy on it. I went to speak in Indianapolis, and one of the brothers, Lilly Pharmaceutical, is the home base for Lilly Pharmaceutical is Indianapolis, Indiana, which means in actuality, and Lilly Pharmaceutical is one of the biggest companies, pharmaceutical companies in America. So we have this particular document. I've Xeroxed some also, where they actually show you on the actual the earlier melatonin bottles before they became mass marketed, that it's made from concentration pineal tissue. So we actually have that actual document.
Now the other thing is this new thing now where they're doing pure melatonin that costs $800 a vial, which is called growth hormone. Growth hormone. And this particular part, they got these rich white people going and taking this growth hormone, and it's reducing the aging, which if you go see the movie Death Becomes Her, you will actually see this. It's reducing the aging, and also they're seeing that they're remembering better, they're having vivid memories and all of that particular stuff. But instead of saying it's pure melanin, they're saying growth hormone, because they go and say that as you get older, the pituitary gland secretes a hormone that is vital for growth. But when you get 18 to 19, it still secretes the hormone because you're supposed to grow in consciousness or thought. But most people in America stopped dealing with any type of study, and not necessarily academia. We don't analyze shit anymore, so therefore this particular part shuts down, including black people. Just that black people, you can turn it back on. And how you turn it, just like when you go to Flab and you say, I want to tone up, and you go pump out and start working out. Well, with black people, you can turn it back on based on using mental aptitude skills, basically by doing a little studying, by doing just a little bit of awareness, videos, or anything where you are analyzing shit other than the normal everyday life. So it can cut back on. With white people, it doesn't. But what we're seeing also with black people, and this is why you're actually seeing black people in consciousness, that all of a sudden you see them on the street, cut 4 or 5 years after them being some of the most conscious brothers, and they dumb down. You don't know what the hell is going on. Well, there's a gland, and if you don't use that gland, the pituitary gland stops emitting the growth hormone, but basically it's another form of melanin. But with black people, it can cut on. With white people, they got to go and get black people and kill black people to get this particular information, this stuff from. After the exhibit, we went to get and find this particular woman, and she's called the African Venus. Now, the brother, well, the guy was a white guy that went to sculpture these statues. In this one, he went to do this guy. This is a Sudanese king. In I think it was 1888. And he went back, it's not 18, excuse me, it was 1868. He went back, I think 5 or 6 years later, because when he saw this woman and was smitten by her, and he went back and he sculptured her. He named her the African Venus, which is the goddess Aphrodite, the goddess Ishtar, the goddess Lakshmi, the goddess Heru, the goddess Erzuli. All of that is the goddess of love. And we're going to get into this and all because all of that is the goddess of love. So he named her the African Venus. So in so many words, this was the prototype of the person that was worshipped all over the world before European beauty was worshipped. That's why it is important to you to go see Catwoman. So the movie starts off with hieroglyphics and meta from Hemmitt. And then they go into the whole cat thing and all. And then in the movie she dies and the cat comes and gives her his energy. And when she tracks down the cat actually came from Hemmitt. But when she looks in these archetypes, this cat was actually in Hemmitt 2,000-3,000 years ago. She was going up with Sharon Stone, which is one of Hollywood's beauties. Because she couldn't act well shit, but she did that Basic Instinct. And they were like, we don't give a shit. We putting your ass in all the movies. She was beating Sharon Stone ass, and Sharon Stone was like, yo, that shit don't even hurt me because I got on this cosmetics. As long as I got on these cosmetics, I'm protected. So that's showing that whole cosmetics. You know, they got their mask on, all that facelift shit. But when she found a way to penetrate that, she was just this old wrinkled ass, messed up specimen. But she whipped this white woman's ass, and I said, wait a minute, hold on. Now, this is their top shit. This is their top beauty. But it was a ritual going on. The earth is millions of years old, and the people on it is millions of years old. It's just that we only been in the physical aspect of the earth a couple of thousand years.
And I believe that the Twa and the most ancient man was in what it was the time when we were semi-physical, coming into the physical, as the vibratory rate gradually slowed down to where we are physical and finally trapped us totally into the physical bodies. The first bodies that was put up, that was set up for us, was semi-physical. And I think that's when we were Atlantis and all of that type of thing.
There's a rapper out, his name is DMX, and he speaks of, most of the time, dogs and stuff like that. You know, now, on one level, it's very ignorant, and it's very minute. It don't seem like it has any kind of saying, any kind of ploy to it. But then when you listen to it again, it sounds like he's saying something about black people being aggressive and coming, how can I say, and coming out doing things that just don't seem like they're in their nature, like a lot of robbing.
Well, a lot of that aspect stuff could actually happen. Look, first of all, dog means the dog stuff. And you know it actually that meant that the brothers is now referring to each other as your dog.
Right.
And which is the same hieroglyphic as the brothers, the gang members, and even the brothers that when they wanted to give thanks to the brothers that wasn't there, they pour out some of the 40, which is a libation. So these are things coming from the subconscious. So the your dog very well could be the gods talking.
Right. Without
as well as that. Yeah, without knowing it, as well as this guy is doing with the aggressive thing. We can never count our people out as far as that type of stuff, because yes,